Mount Auburn Cemetery, known for its historic beauty, is also home to a unique artistic initiative. Since 2014, the cemetery's Artist in Residence program has been creating a space where nature, history, and art come together in meaningful ways. The Artist in Residence program was established 10 years ago to help interpret Mount Auburn's rich stories through art. Since then, 28 artists have participated, producing works that explore themes of life, death, hope, and grief using a variety of media ranging from sculpture to dance.
We started the program in 2014 with our inaugural artist, which at the time was a singular artist who was awarded a 2-year residency program. Since that time, we have had some evolution in the program where rather than it being a singular artist being awarded a 2-year residency, we are now awarding smaller grants for more artists, which means that we connect with a larger artistic community. In addition to providing some financial assistance to an artist, we are also dedicating the resources of Mount Auburn space and also its content experts to connect the artist with all of the facets of Mount Auburn, whether it's learning more about our horticulture collections or learning more about our archival collections that help to inform their projects.
Among the artists who have taken part in this program is Eden Reyes, a composer and instrument designer who used materials from Mount Auburn's iconic pipe organ to create a unique, never-before-seen instrument.
I was gifted part of what used to be the Bigelow Chapel pipe organ. It's a Hook and Hastings pipe organ. With the pipes, over the course of several months, I ended up designing a completely different instrument from the parts. It ended up being called Argent and Sable, which is also the name of a moth. Argent and Sable has been described in many different ways by the different people who've listened to it. It's by no means a pleasant sound. One of the best descriptions I've heard is that the sound of Argent and Sable is heavy enough to go into the parts of the person who is feeling pain or suffering, and it shakes up that pain and it lets it leave the body.
Playwright Patrick Gabridge used his time as an artist in residence to create plays inspired by Mount Auburn's landscape and its rich history.
I created 2 series of 5 plays each, short plays. So one was called The Nature Plays, looking at the natural world of Mount Auburn Cemetery. It was about bird watchers and trees and spotted salamanders and mushroom hunters. And it was very light and sometimes goofy, but also very touching. And the audience would move from place to place to place for these 5 plays. We'd walk around the cemetery at each place. And then the second set of plays we did was called the America Plays. And those were a series of plays about the development of American history through the lens of Mount Auburn Cemetery. And then I also wrote an 11th play called Moonlight Abolitionists, and it was a play intended to be performed under the full moon at Mount Auburn. I spent a good 6 to 9 months just here researching, going through the archives, talking to everybody I could talk to, walking, and then wrote these very specifically for this place. So they're diving deep into the history and nature and the feel of Mount Auburn Cemetery.
This year's cohort includes artists working in landscape design, poetry, and dance, all of them creating pieces that reflect the unique beauty and atmosphere of Mount Auburn Cemetery.
This year's artists include a wide variety of mediums and also come from a multitude of different backgrounds and disciplines. A pair of artists who are landscape architects by training are working on a sensory trail of Mount Auburn. We have a dancer who is working on an exploration of Mount Auburn through dance. Another artist who specializes in working with paper to create large-scale paper weavings. And we also have a poet who is working on the exploration of a specific person buried at Mount Auburn, the story of Harriet Jacobs through poetry, specifically poetry that's meant to be accessible to young children.
Artist in residence programs at cemeteries are growing in popularity across the country, but it was Mount Auburn who first established one 10 years ago.
The program empowers artists in a way I haven't experienced, not only financially. This is a space where people go for a very specific purpose often, but it's also bringing more people into the cemetery just to walk, just to experience, just to see something new and something beautiful.
Artists currently in the program are now working on their projects, which will be ready to show to the public next spring. You can learn more about Mount Auburn's Artist in Residence program, see a calendar of events, and support the program by visiting mountauburn.org. You can also subscribe to the cemetery's newsletter and follow them on social media to see some sneak peeks of the artists as they prepare to display their work in the spring of 2025. Dan Hogan, Watertown Cable News.